Welcome back. So today we're going to clean our guns. We had just gone out and did some shooting. Did some hunting, did some shooting. Um, it's winter out, so it's significantly colder outside than it is inside. So with the change in temperatures, whenever you have your guns outside, right, because they're metal. Whenever you have them out, you bring them in. Um, the change in temperature because it causes some condensation on your guns. So you need to wipe them down after you bring them back in. So we brought our guns in, and they warmed up room temperature. So we'll get cleaning here in a minute. I just want to go over some of the things that you'll want to have beforehand. So you'll want just some rags. So I got some cut up shirts. I also got some some rags that came in the gun cleaning kit. Uh, you'll want some sort of oil to lubricate your guns. You can really use different kinds of oils, but for any sort of rotating or moving parts, you can use just lubricant on them. But for your the bluing of the gun, the finish of the gun, most of the surfaces of the gun, you're gonna want some kind of oil that has some rust preventative in it. Now, most oil will help prevent rust, but it has to be almost like soaked in, right? It has to be covering the metal on all areas to really prevent any rust from building up. So, um, most time you don't want your guns just soaking in oil, right? It's just not an ideal because then you have to clean them again multiple times in order to get the oil off of it so you can actually use it. So these types of oils here, there's all kinds of different ones. You can even get them in big containers and put them in smaller containers like we have. But when you're looking for cleaning your gun for storage, or if you brought them from outside, if it was raining, misting, you laid it down or whatever, it's good to get some of this gun cleaner that actually has um, rust preventative in it. Now there's going to be gun cleaning oil. There's going to be gun cleaning solution out there. Don't the solution is going to be for whenever you have uh, real heavy buildup on your guns. So if you went out to a range and you've put down or the woods or whatever wherever you're at, if you've laid down a couple boxes of ammunition, or you really tried to do some testing, or just really had a good time, or you're shooting like black powder or something, then you would want to use the cleaning solution if you got really caked on either black powder or gunpowder or copper, right? Copper slugs, lead slugs. Uh, like we were using shotguns, you can have some build up in a barrel, so you'll want some way to get some of that stuff out of there. Now, the second thing you'll want is um, you don't have to have a gun case. I got this little gun case here I got a long time ago, but you'll need some sort of rods, right, to get down in your barrel. So typically, a gun case will have some rods that you can put together and feed different sizes here. Feed down into your barrel to actually get to where you can clean at, and then you'll need uh, on the ends of those barrels. There's these little attachments that have a slit in them, so you can put rags or cleaning wipes in there and clean them out. Some of the if you have really caked on um, residue that you're trying to get out of inside the barrel, whether it's the copper or the lead or a really thick gunpowder that you haven't really cleaned ever, you may need some wire bristle brushes to get in there and actually clean the barrel up. But if you keep up on your cleaning, if you clean it every time you take your gun out, every time you shoot rounds out of the barrel, clean the barrel. Anytime you take the gun out, you bring it back in when it's cold out to clean off some of the, you know, keep the moisture off and make sure you're lubricating it, rust preventative. This also has some like cotton swabby cleaning things. This would be for like the finish. You're going to be storing your gun for a while. You can put some lubricant on these, clean them out, stuff like that. So not you don't have to have these, like I said, but the rods are kind of a must. You need some way to get down inside that barrel and clean it. And you could try to use like um, for like the pistol or the revolver, you could use like some sort of smaller cleaning utensils. But for your long guns, you're gonna want these extendable rods. So, all right, now that we've shown you what we have for prep, let's get to it. All right, so we're gonna go into cleaning of this heritage here. Let's go ahead and put this over here. So we got our cleaning kit, we got our gun, and we got our oil. Make sure we're all, let's actually straighten it up a little bit. Yeah, that's fine, right? Okay, so first thing we need to do is make sure our gun's safe, right? So we are unsafe right now. You take it off safe, you can see there has a red dot. So leave it on safe. That actually makes the hammer come back. You can see. Okay, so you put it on safe. Now we need to check our chambers are all empty. So we come back to half cock. That way we can rotate our cylinder. So as you can see, when you rotate the cylinder, we have no ammo inside. So just to clarify, on my end, yeah, all the ammo's up. So we're going to go ahead and disassemble it. So to disassemble this, push your pin in, pull out your plug, so push the pin in, open your reload chamber, push the pin in, pull your pin out, and then you can slide out your cylinder. So cylinder's empty. There's no rounds in here. It's good to go. So now we're good to clean. You can't break this handle down any further, so you can't look down your sight very well. You have to kind of just stare down the barrel. But as we talked, we don't have a cylinder in. We don't have any ammunition. There's no way for this gun to fire, right? Because the hammer and the firing pin, there's nothing in here to be able to make contact with the round. Even if there was a round in the barrel somehow, it's impossible to shoot, right? So we just shot 50 rounds through, so we're gonna go ahead and clean it up a little bit. So first thing we'll do is get out some of these rags. Get out some of these rags here. Find the appropriate. Now we only shot 50 rounds, right? And this isn't real dirty gun at all, right? It's just 22. So we don't need to be aggressive with any of these wire brushes. We'll just run a couple rags down through the barrel here and clean up some of our residue. Let's see. Where is, so you got your little piece here that actually is for holding your rags. You can simply just fold the rags up. Stick them in. So, and then thread them on. It's good. Put your handle on there if you want. Actually, is this not threading it? Okay. Kind of spin as I go. Okay. You can see the amount of residue I got on there. Do it again.
Okay. Came out fairly clean on that one. So what you can do is get your rag and take our cylinder here, wipe the edges of the cylinder off, kind of like so. And then on the back side of the cylinder, do the same with it. Okay. Then you can do the inside. Do the inside of your cylinder. Okay. Then we'll do one more swab here. Just trying to get the majority of it out. Okay. Then really around here, next to the barrel, and around the back side here. Okay. Even if you want, you could pull the hammer back. Just get all these little pieces in here. These won't really see a whole lot of gunpowder residue, but you can get it anyway. Okay. So you can see we got some more dirt off of that. Okay. That's really about all the residue you're going to get off. Now what you would want to do is take some oil and rub everything down, because not only do you have the gunpowder getting all over here, but as you're handling the gun, you're going to get a lot of the oil and moisture, especially when it gets cold out. They like the gun cools down, you bring it inside and it heats up and sweats. What you want to do is get some of the oil and rub it all over all the metal, all the parts that you're going to be touching. You don't want it to rust up, so you can brush it with a real light oil. So oil up all the different places. The outside, all the places that you may have touched which is pretty much the entirety of the gun, right? Make sure you oil everything up. And then especially these places that you think had a lot of the residue, those places up and get those oiled up as well. Move the safety out of the way, move the loading breech out of the way. All these pieces, even you can even get down into the spring joint, the ejection area. We'll get down in the barrel here in a second. Your cylinder, if you were swapping cylinders, if you're doing the 22 long rifle versus the Win Mag, you want to do all of those. You want to do both your cylinders if you swap them out, or even if you're going to store them, right? If you're going to swap it out and store the old one, make sure you get it well lubricated before you store it. That way, next time you grab it, it'll be fresh and ready to go. This rack's falling apart. So we'll get these out of here. And then we'll cut this one in half again like we did before. We'll put a little oil on it. This is not the right oil to be using for this, but we're going to wipe the excess off here in a minute. So I got a little bit of oil on my rag. I'm going to fold it over like we did previously. Cut this in half. And then I can use it to oil the inside of the barrel and the cylinders. Okay. Press clean on that. So what we do want to do is we've wiped the whole thing down, right? So I'm going to wipe off any excess oil. Another rag here. Make sure you're getting here next to the whatever it's called is the piece of that, because you are going to have areas up here and back here where whenever the rounds are going off, it's gassing out the sides here. So you want to make sure you get those nice and well wiped off. Your trigger may be back all the way like that, but when you cock it back, you'll bring your trigger forward, so it gives you a little more room to get in there and clean. And then also, you can bring your hammer all the way back. That way you can clean your hammer up a bit. And as you're getting close to being done wiping it all off, just try to keep your hand, like you got the rag in the one hand, so you can use it, but try to keep your other hand just solely on your hand grip. That way, you're not reintroducing oil off your hand onto any metal surfaces. Okay. Same thing for your cylinder. Wiping all any excess oil you may have on it off. Then probably should have done that first, but use a little extra oil here. And get down in our cylinder walls. You can kind of tell, even with only firing so few rounds through the gun, it can get pretty dirty. Fell apart on me. handle this thing pretty good with all the oil on my hands. So go ahead and give her a nice rub down. Okay. Yourself some cotton gloves, so that way you can do your final wipe down. Make sure you're not getting any of your oil on your hands on the gun. And it also helps that, these being like cotton gloves, and you're kind of helping whenever you're actually handling the gun, moving it around, that you're not getting any of your body oils on it. Now all these cylinders they're grooved to where whenever you're cycling the gun, you're pulling the hammer back, pulling the trigger, the gun's rotating the cylinder, so they're all grooved in a direction to where it'll allow for the cylinder to rotate. So whenever you're wiping it, if you wipe it the opposite direction, that way you're not getting caught by those raised heads, then it's a lot easier. Okay, so that's all cleaned up. Now we got to put it back together. Get that hair out of the way. So put your cylinder back in, right? And then you have the hammer pulled back because you don't need, when it's all forward like that, it's going to lock your um, rotating. And you pull your hammer back to the second position, and then in order for that pin to fall in, you have to shove over your release there. So you put your hammer back. That way you can rotate freely, and shove that pin in and push down on your cylinder release. And with that, you can't, because it's got that groove chamber like we kind of talked about. Um, if your reload slide there is in the way, you can't put your cylinder in there. So you gotta have that open, and then you can just slide right in there. whenever you would put your cylinder back in, you need to pull out your kind of your reload lever here, right? So, because if you're not, then you can't slide it in. If you put your cylinder back in, it'll pretty much go to the center. Unless it's in the center, um, you can rotate if your hammer's back. You can actually rotate it as if you were loading. So you can close that back in. Take your cylinder holder and you put it back in there where it goes, and then you just push in on your cylinder release, and it'll allow your cylinder pin to go in, and then it'll just go all the way in there to the back. It'll lock in, and you can rotate your cylinder, and it's locked in place. You can't pull it back out until you release your cylinder pin. So you can verify it's once again empty, and it's good to go. And that's it. One clean gun, ready to go in storage, and use again next time.